What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to YGOPD, your Yu-Gi-Oh! Professional Development, and today I am excited to share the new deck I fell in love with. This is an extremely powerful meta contention deck, probably Rogue, Tier 2, wherever you want to put it, but it definitely does a lot. It's probably one of the most fun I've had playing a deck in quite some time, and is very budget friendly. Depending on the hand traps you want to pick, this deck will run you less than $100. This is Marincess. I love this deck. It's absolutely amazing. I've never felt better playing a deck. Like, it plays through interruptions like no other. It plays through hand traps like no other. It just gets so much work done. And I don't want to waste too much time, but I do want to take time to shout out our new subs of the channel, Giulio, Marcello, and Seto. Sorry if I pronounced any of those wrong, but thank you all so much for joining the channel. I am so excited to have you here. If you would like to be included in the next new sub shout out, just make sure your subscriptions are public when you subscribe so I know who you are and I can give you that shout out. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into the deck profile. Starting off, we play 3 Blue Tang. I definitely want to do a combo guide and a deck analysis for this, regardless of how much love this deck gets. It's amazing, and it's just something that I'm really passionate about learning about, so I want to share it nonetheless. Blue Tang is all these cards that you're going to see monster-wise are either really insane starters by themselves that create essentially a threat, a form of interruption, negate, combo, whatever, or they're really amazing extenders which pair with stuff to get you exactly where you need. Blue Tang is by far the best of these 3. So Blue Tang, if you don't know what it does, it essentially on summon can foolish any Marincess from your deck to your grave. And then from there, it foolishes a Marincess monster. If it's sent to grave as link material, you can excavate the top 3 and then add a Marincess card from deck to hand. That actually comes up a little bit more than what I realized, but it's an amazing card, helps you chain block, and just gets all your plays going. To pair with that, we have 3 of the Spring Girl, probably the best extender in the deck. Essentially, it banishes a Marincess from grave to special summon itself. The reason I like this extender out of any other is it doesn't have to go to a zone a link monster points to. So if you have some awkward hands, you can still use this to climb if your zones are a little bit weird. And then we play 3 Seahorse. Absolutely amazing card. Special summons itself to a zone a link monster points to is typically what you add back off of Blue Slug, but also have amazing graveyard effects that let you extend as well. And then 2 Pascalis. This is also a really good extender. On normal, it specials another Marincess from your hand to the field, and it has a grave effect the turn it was not sent there, so the turn after that, any point on, you banish it to then add a Marincess spell trap back to your hand. Typically, you're going to add, I believe, either wave or dive. So really, really good extender there. And then we play the 1 Mandarin. I don't see some lists playing this, some lists do. I like it. It's an amazing extender. If you have 2 Marincess on field, you just special summon it from hand or grave for free, banishes itself when it leaves the field. Just does a lot and is a really great extender. If you get it off the deck from dive, you feel so far ahead, it really feels like a 2-for-1. And then technically the 1 engine requirement, or I guess additional extender at best, is the Sleepy Maiden. This card does so much for the deck. It's really amazing. The equip effect, I didn't realize how much I would like that too, but it just does a lot for the deck. It's the main thing you typically dump off of Blue Tang for your 1-card combo. Special summons itself to a zone of Marincess points to, banishes itself from grave to equip a link. It really just checks all the boxes. Unfortunately, it is a level 5, which does suck, but otherwise it's still really amazing. Moving on with the engine, we do play 3 Signet Mining. I don't think there's any reason not to here. A decent chunk of your Marincess extenders do stuff in the grave, so discards never really feel that bad, as well as you can add stuff back from the grave as well. But this is just 3 more of any name that you are missing, so really powerful card there. And then we play 2 Marincess Dive. You could play 3. I'm back and forth on it. I might up this to 3. Basically, it's a monster reborn for Marincesses, and if you have the field spell on field, it's an E-Telly for them as well. So it's a really cool card, just fixes any name you want, lets you play through hand traps, really, really powerful. And then we play the 1 Battle Ocean, of course, and the 1 Wave. Battle Ocean is really what makes your Marincess monsters big, 600 per link that they are equipped to, plus 200 in general. So if you equip all 3 links from grave, it's going to be sitting at a boosted 2k compared to whatever its original attack was. And then the Wave, just an imperm that can be played at any point if you have a link 3 or higher, and it makes all monsters you currently control unaffected by card effects for the rest of the turn. I didn't realize how much that would come up, and I didn't realize how much I wanted that, and I needed that. It makes not having to dedicate lines lines to, I believe, Crystal Heart a lot easier, so you don't have to get away with it. But that's the Marincess engine. That's 20, and believe it or not, we have 20 free slots to dedicate to whatever we want. So we are on a few hand traps, some defensive cards, and some consistency pieces. But I will start with the hand traps. Similar to what I've shared in my Sword Soul profile, I am a big fan of these types of hand traps slash defensive cards. Are ones that don't do a ton. They're not crazy high impact like Nibiru or Gamma, things like that. But nevertheless, or Shifter, I guess, but they are really good for being able to be used at any point in the game, going on your turn, going on your opponent's turn, whenever, especially Mourner. Mourner is very strong for tier. If they try to Havness on your turn, whatever they spit out, you just get to stop right then and there with Mourner, which is really, really powerful. So Mourner is a card that I have been quite a big fan of. And then to go in line with that, we play triple Infinite Impermanence. Not much to say there. Again, the king of being used at either turn. Really, really powerful right now. Turning off Kit Kalos or anything you want. Rue Kalos before you commit. Very important. DD Crow. You could play Bestial Druid Worm in here in place of that. I still like DD Crow. I like the versatility of it. People have gotten a little disrespectful towards this card. I feel like a lot of people are thinking, oh, I don't have a monster on board, so they can't Bestial me, or I haven't committed any Light and Darks and Grave yet, so they can't Bestial me. Hence another reason why Marincess is great. But that's a big punish for DD Crow, because people, I think, play a little looser, and then as a result kind of get hurt by this card quite a lot. And then we play 2 Ash. Ash is still really good, don't get me wrong, but again, doesn't come up, I feel like, as much right now. A lot of things are obviously always chain blocked, and just, it's not as readily available. Ash is something that's more a turn 0, turn 1 type of play, and not much after that. So right now 2 is fine. And then we play triple Cosmic Cyclone. Still on this, a huge fan of this card right now. It's really, really good. Decks continue to just end on their 1 power spell or their 1 power trap. In the rogue tier, you're probably thinking about like Blackout for Sword Soul, obviously the field spell for a deck like this, the field spell for Runic Sprite, or just the 1 Double Cross, or the 1 Smashers. For tier, it might be a Sulik or a Crime or something like that. So just being able to either get rid of that or force that out before you commit is really, really nice. And then the last bit of the deck is just consistency piece. 3 tactics. Effects are always happening no matter what now. At any point, this card will always be live. You're playing 99% tier, and when you're not playing tier, you're probably playing Sprite, and they're obviously going to do Elf, Red, Carrot, Blue, Jet, something on your turn, right? So this card is always going to be usable, which is really nice. This is also another deck where you can get away with playing Desires, and then of course we're playing the one called by. Desires is perfectly fine. Typically you're doing all your searching before you would Desires in a perfect world, and you really only care about Wave / Battle Ocean. Not even as much Battle Ocean now with the new Link 4 that got released in Darkwing Blast. But still, Desires is a really cool card in this deck to draw 2 off Tactics, then 2 off Desires, and all your searching and everything. It's just such an insanely powerful deck. You have 20 free slots. These are how I'm using them. But again, wherever you want to fit these, go for it. So, okay, moving on to the extra deck. I will start with our Link 4s and work our way down. Of course, the king himself, the most amazing card I have ever seen in a deck that was not necessarily meant. I feel like this card was created for this deck. I'm sure by now you might have seen a profile through Hakuna Matata or DB Grinder's feature. This card does a lot. The interaction with Marincess is you essentially use Coral Anemone on your turn to special summon something back as you link climb, locking yourself into waters, and then you use your battle phase to clear over anything that's not water on your opponent's board, then link into this guy. This guy banishes everything and brings stuff back that is water specifically because you are locked into water. So any monsters you banish from your opponent, they don't come back because they're not waters. If they have waters like Rukalos, Rhinoheart, they're going to come back, which is why you want to run over them first. But if they're not water, they just don't come back. And the main reason is because even though this card says banish everything and special summon them, you're the one that owns the card. You're the one that's triggering the effect, and you're the one that's making that happen. You're the one who's also locked into water. It's not your opponent special summoning them back. It's you. So you do not have the legal right to bring those back if they're not water. So that's how you get away with clearing the board with a card like this. And then, of course, we play the 1 Argonaut and the 1 Bubble Reef. I've thought about bumping one of these up to 2 in some capacity. I am not sure which yet. Maybe Zealantis and Argonaut are ones I am back and forth on. I'm really thinking about a Silent Sea Nettle in the main deck, too, as a way to recycle names, but for now, one of each is fine, but I recommend if you don't have this yet as a Marincess player, they were about $5. I think they're creeping up to maybe 8 to 10. I would definitely recommend hitting up one of these guys before they keep climbing. And then for the 3s, we play 1 Coral Triangle. This is pretty straightforward, as well as the 1 Marbled Rock. Really, 1 and 1 is all you need. You don't need a lot more. You don't need a lot less than these. If we can get this to focus ideally. There we go. But Coral Triangle is the one that lets you add wave from deck to hand. Marbled Rock lets you add a wave back from grave to hand. And Marbled Rock is what you sit on if you need to protect stuff from crashing in the battle phase or different things like that. So after that, on to the 2s. We play 2 Coral Anemone. I think 2 is the absolute standard minimum. Most of the 2s and 1s you're going to see here outside of something like Crystal Heart, you want 2 of because you want to be able to climb through your line at least twice. 1 for your initial turn and then 1 for follow-up. So 2 Anemone is really good. This add back is like insane. It happens pretty much every turn with you unequipping, equipping, special summoning from grave, bringing back, etc. The 1 Crystal Heart, this is what makes your stuff unaffected if you link with it. Doesn't really come up as much now with cards like Battle Ocean and Wave to kind of be the backbone of that, but nonetheless still a great card. 1 Splash Mage. It is a necessity. This is what enables Pascalis to be a 1 card link for. I've thought about upping Pascalis to 3 just because of that, but it's not really needed at this given time. But Splash Mage is what lets you do that. And then we play for the 1s 2 Sea Angel. This adds the Marincess spell from deck to hand, so you're either getting your Dive or your Battle Ocean. And then Blue Slug, 2 of these, which lets you add back a Marincess from grave to hand. Typically, this is whatever extender you're adding back that can be special summoned from hand. So basically Seahorse or Sleepy Maiden. If you ended up dumping a Spring Girl earlier, you can add that as well, but that's there. And then the last 2 are just kind of flex spots. You might see Bahamut Toad, you might see Kragan, a Dweller. Right now I have Dweller, and I threw in a Baguska here. This is really should be probably the Water Charmer specifically, just because right now Sprite are doing, some are still doing the Ibly combo, and that's really your main way to link off Ibly, is the Water Charmer. But these can be whatever you want, these couple slots. If you want to cut these and up maybe one of your link 4s and something else, you can do that too. But Dweller, obviously really, really good against Tier. Baguska was kind of just a weird slot I'd been testing. Doesn't really come up too much because you typically end up locking yourself into water, and we're not playing the other level 4 extender to get into rank 4s as much, so they're just kind of here. But again, these can be whatever you want. I've not really found myself needing to make them at this point, so I think I'm just going to probably cut them for a couple more links. But with that said, that's the deck profile. I will try to do some combo guide stuff here soon, and ideally maybe a live match or 2. This deck is amazing. I've never felt a more clean deck in my life. It just feels really good playing through stuff. I've played against some Tier and Sprite testing wise. Haven't had any issues. It feels really strong. I was leaning towards a couple other picks for my upcoming regional, but this might have transformed my mind. So with all that said, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Later.